let me say very clearly that I am convinced that project will never go ahead. Enbridge's project. But I am equally convinced that Stephen Harper will do anything to approve it. So it's a question of, while angry, I am angry about what's happened to our system of government, I have profound faith in its latent, inherent abilities to do the right thing when the citizenry engages itself to say no. Now we have Christy Clark as Premier, who has actually, and this is important, actually had, after the election, the BC position to the Joint Review Panel went in and said, there is no evidence from Enbridge that they know how to handle a dilbit spill. There's no evidence that they know what to do if it spills on land, on pipelines, or in the ocean on tankers. Dr. Andrew Weaver, who you all know is a climate scientist who's just become the MLA for Oak Bay Gordon Head, we did a press conference yesterday. Was it only yesterday? Day before yesterday. Day before yesterday, pointing out we had a leak. Somebody gave it, not a pipeline leak. We had a ton of data from inside government given to us, we don't know from whom, that showed that there's been $78 million spent this year by the federal government on something they call the Northern Gateway Project, which is essentially different ways of assisting Enbridge. Yeah. Makes it very clear Stephen Harper intends to approve this. What I found encouraging was that when, and Andrew, I was addressing Harper as the federal side of things, Andrew Weaver was addressing Christy Clark at the provincial side of things. Her response was quite good. She said what my party and the Green Party have in common is when we say something, we mean it. And we have said no to the Enbridge project. I think we're moving her more. Now, constitutionally, the BC government can't say no if the federal government insists. But politically, I don't think Stephen Harper can get away with insisting if Christy Clark keeps saying no. And then all the First Nations along the route have also said no. The Federation of BC Municipalities has said no. There are a lot of hurdles for Stephen Harper to overcome, including that there are British Columbia Conservative members of Parliament who would like to be re-elected, who will also recommend, and the first of Harper's ministers to say anything negative about Enbridge was James Moore. So what am I specifically going to do in Parliament? I'll continue doing what I've been doing, but I plan to, early in the session, I will, whenever we reconvene, continue to do access to information requests to get to the bottom of what's going on with taxpayer dollars essentially funding Enbridge. I will ask the Prime Minister at my first opportunity how this money could be spent without it being identified to Parliament, that we were approving $78 million in 2013-2014 for a project of DFO, Environment Canada, Coast Guard, Transport Canada, and they call it in the documents the Northern Gateway Project. It's not a stretch to understand this money is being spent to help Enbridge. And I asked the Prime Minister in question period on June 6th and, about whether he would persist. I put it to him, some of you will remember his famous firewall letter, but he advised Ralph Klein in Alberta to build a firewall around Alberta and protect Alberta from a hostile federal government. And I said, what will protect British Columbia from a hostile federal government? Would you continue to push the Enbridge project if British Columbians continue to say no?